brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create amazing relationships. I am Rachel Cruze, hosting this hour with my good friend and best-selling author, Jade Warshaw. And we're here to answer your questions about life, money, relationships, career, anything and everything. We are here for you. So give us a call at 888-825-5225. All right, up first, we have Charles in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hi, Charles. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. How can we help?
Yeah, I was just recently notified that my company plans on laying me off in the near term. And
Sorry.
I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying to write down a long-term financial plan, and I'm writing out my assets. And I'm just kind of looking at what I have down, and the vast majority of my stuff is not liquid. Meaning it's in either a retirement account or it's equity in my home or whatever. And I'm trying, if it came down to it and I needed to access that money, what would be the best way to go about doing that?
Okay, so you don't have any savings right now. Anything liquid is what you're saying. Because
No,
if you know ahead of time,
I have
because my question is
3 months of savings.
Okay.
Sorry.
Great.
Well, I mean, this may feel Pollyanna, but you're not laid off now. You know you're going to be in the near term. What does that mean? Does that mean 30 days, 3 months, 6 months?
They couldn't give me an exact date, but they said most likely January. But my manager was kind of giving me like a really solid, and he wasn't really supposed to tell me like this information, and so but
insider. Insider info.
And so he.
So I wouldn't.
He was like,
So I would make it a goal not to pull money out of your house equity wise, not to pull it out of retirement because you're going to get dinged with penalties and taxes. Because I mean, it's between, you have 4 months to continue to save and look for a new job, right? I mean, in a perfect world.
Yeah, the goal is to do that. And I'm just trying to do last ditch efforts.
Yeah.
I'm trying to write down a plan.
Totally.
I feel like you have to focus. I think you're focusing on the wrong part. You're focusing on what do I have to depend on if I don't get the job, as opposed to focusing on what will I do to get the job? Because if I'm you, I'm taking those other, especially the retirement, the house, I'm taking that off the table. Like it's not even an option.
Yeah.
So I feel like you've got to go into this pretending as though that money doesn't even exist. Because if you go into it with even like just a piece of that in your brain as an option, then when the time comes, like let's say the time does come and it's getting close to the wire, you're going to be like, well, at least I have this money here. And that's dangerous.
Yeah, this is the extreme stance we even take, Charles, is that we say not to pull money out of retirement unless it's to avoid a bankruptcy or a foreclosure. So, I mean, so I to Jade's point, I would act like it's not even there. So financially, Charles, how are you? Are you living paycheck to paycheck? Do you, you have 3 months of savings, which is big. So, it sounds like you're in a good spot.
My original goal was to get out of, because I started listening to the show earlier this year, and my goal was to get out of debt this year. And the only thing I had on my card was my car payment, and I took a radical stance and I sold my car. And
good for you.
I traded it in for a car that has 300,000 miles on it. So I'm debt free with 3 months of savings.
Cool.
So if anything, my
and what kind of line of work are you in?
Plan. Yeah, I'm in accounting.
Okay. Yeah.
Listen, you're going to land on your feet. No problem.
Yeah. I think I appreciate the due diligence of the plan and everything, but I would encourage you, Charles, I think you're in a better spot than you think you are. I mean, you have no debt. You have 3 months of savings. If I were you, between now and then, I would just be stockpiling cash. I would get that up to a 6-month emergency fund just in case. And then as an accountant, you'll have plenty of opportunities to find a job. And then when you plug into a great job and you have too much savings, maybe you could say, okay, I'm going to take some of that, maybe put more towards my retirement. But maybe between now and then, focus on just stockpiling cash.
Are you able, like legally or with the stipulations of your job, are you able to start kind of creating a book of business on the side so that you kind of have that as a bridge?
I do corporate accounting, so not specifically client.
Got you. Okay.
Client stuff like that.
Well, I would start networking too, Charles, right? Between now and then. I mean, talking to companies that are looking for someone. And
nothing's stopping you from talking. Having coffees.
No, and I was told like 2 hours ago, so I'm trying to do, like, I started sending out resumes and stuff like
fair.
that already.
You're still writing in your journal, like you're still trying to make heads or tails of it.
I got like a bunch of stuff written down, and I'm just trying to create a plan of action and
Good. Are you married?
Figure out what to do next. I have a 8-year-old son now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So from all that, I mean, if I were you, I would just be saving money. I'd be looking for another job. And if they're going to lay you off and you find a great opportunity, then it's time to say, okay, that door is shut and I'm going to walk into something else. I mean, in that sense, that's not a selfish thing, or you're not leaving them high and dry. You're taking care of yourself in that situation too.
Right. Exactly.
So great.
I don't, like, if I leave early, like, it is what it is, you know?
That's right.
Yeah. If you're going to be laid off, for sure. I'm like, yeah. Well, thanks for the call, Charles. I hope that's helpful. And I appreciate that he called us 2 hours after he found out, because there is probably a level of like panic and, oh my gosh, what he was doing when he called us was like getting all my ducks in a row, which makes more sense that he's like already going to, okay, what if I run out of money? But when you let the drama settle and the emotion settle, it is amazing how you can, and he's put himself in an incredible position, right? I mean, this is a totally different conversation. Yes. If he has no savings, has a car payment, is living paycheck to paycheck, then there's going to be, a whole other level of, hey, there's going to be more pain to this.
Absolutely.
But that's one reason you do all of this, you guys, is to set yourself up for the unexpected. And we always say the emergency fund is there after you are debt free and you have a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses, which is what Charles has, that it takes a crisis and turns it into an inconvenience.
That's right. Hey, did he say it was his leader who let him in, or was it just somebody he worked with?
I think he said his leader.
I was going to say, like, that's probably another piece of this, is just to make sure it's accurate information and not like hearsay or like
some office rumor that you're, because that can happen as well, right? Yeah. You jump off this train that wasn't even, gonna crash.
Because of what people are saying at the water cooler. But I think he did say it was his leader.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're getting nods. But again, Jade, I think too that padding of planning is great, of what he was talking about. But getting yourself in that position that when life happens, because it's not if, it's when, and it may not be a job layoff, which I feel like we're hearing more and more of. I don't know. I feel like we're getting more calls of that. But the health of one of your kids or family members. I mean, stuff is going to come up, and to put yourself in a position. Not that money does not make you immune to life, right? But it does give a buffer when those hard life events happen.
It can soften the blow.
It can, absolutely.
Truly.
Yeah. So great. Well, Charles, again, thanks for the call. This is The Ramsey Show.
Statistics show that half of Americans don't have enough life insurance, or they don't have any at all. I don't understand this, John. Why don't people want to take care of their family? They think they're going to die or something?
Well, I used to be one of those guys. I didn't even think about it. And one of my buddies said, hey, the only reason to not have life insurance is if you hate your wife and kids. And I immediately went and got term life insurance.
That's a gut punch.
And, you're telling me, and for decades, Dave, I've sat across people who've lost a spouse. They've lost somebody important to them.
Me too.
They don't know what to do next.
Me too. I mean, you're going to have a crisis here. And, you got two options while you're sitting and talking to a young widow. She's concerned about how she's going to invest all this money properly and not mess this up, or she's concerned how she's going to eat tomorrow.
That's exactly
These are the
right.
two options.
And
take care of your dadgum family, man.
Term life insurance can replace income, pay off debts, cover funeral expenses, so your family can actually have the opportunity to just be sad.
Yeah.
To just miss you.
That's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's saying I love you to your family. Term life insurance. Jeff Zander and the team at Zander Insurance makes it easy and affordable. I've used them personally for 25 years. They're the only people I trust. Go to Zander.com or call 800-356-4282.
Well, Jade, the Live Like No One Else cruise is 90% sold out. So the cabins are booked. The ship is getting full. We're going to set sail in March. You know, we were just talking March. It still seems like a far way away a little bit.
Yeah.
But with kids and school calendars, we've started talking about, gosh,
you got a plan.
Yeah, you do. You do. So
ahead.
even if it feels far, you guys, it will be here before you know it. So we are doing a Live Like No One Else cruise. This is if you're on baby steps 4, 5, 6, or 7.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to come celebrate it. We talk about living like no one else, so later you can live and give like no one else. So we're going to stop at Turks and Caicos, St. Thomas, Puerto Rico, and the Bahamas, and no passport is needed. So don't worry about that. Just come on aboard, and we are all going to be there. All the Ramsey personalities and some great guests. And it's a 7-day cruise, March 22nd through the 29th, 2025. And again, you don't want to miss this unbelievable, incredible vacation. It's going to be so fun. So that's in March. You can go to RamseySolutions.com/cruise to put a deposit down and book your room.
Love it.
All right, up next we have Richard and Maria from Tacoma, Washington. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you guys?
We're doing great. How are you all?
Pretty good.
Good. It's fun having both of you. We usually have a single caller, so I'm glad we have two. Are you guys? What's going on? Are you guys married? What's happening?
This means debate. I know it.
Does it?
Yes, we are married.
All right. So how can we help?
So we need to get a truck because we'll be moving to upstate New York within the year. So we need a vehicle that can handle the snow. So we both have agreed we want to buy a used around $30,000 truck.
Okay.
But we differ on how we want to buy that truck.
Okay.
So we have $50,000 in savings right now, not including our IRAs and 401ks.
Okay.
And then, so she wants to buy the vehicle outright. And then I want to use we both have pretty good credit. And then I want to use a sizable down payment to try to get our APR under 4.6% so that we can have more money in our savings.
Okay.
So you have more money in your savings is why you want to do your way. Maria, why do you want to just pay for it outright?
I don't want to have any debt or any car payments, and I would just like to buy it cash and not worry about it anymore.
All right.
I have a question. What portion of the $50,000 would you consider to be your 3 to 6 months of expenses?
That's the other $20K. That's why we set the mark at $30K for the truck.
So $20K would cover your emergency fund, and then $30K. Okay. Well, I mean, Richard, you called the Ramsey Show, so I think you know what we're going to say.
I know.
Yes, I know. So, I mean, I understand, Richard, the mathematical side, right? Some people, well, not with car payments. It's the one part of
I mean, I
debt
understand him wanting to have the savings.
More savings, yes. But realizing though, Richard, that you're going to be paying 4 to 5% on an asset that's going down in value where you could have that possibly invested even in just an index fund making 10 to 12%.
Right.
Your money could be working for you way more.
And just for fun, you said you'd want to put down a decent down payment. What were you thinking you would put down on the $30,000 car?
Half the value of the car.
Okay, so $15,000. So then let me see if I can make you feel better about this. So what's you guys' income?
We make
what will it be?
Around $100K.
Okay.
A year.
And so how long, without a car payment, how long do you think it could take you to save up that additional $15K, because in your mind, that's what you'd be parting with is $15,000. That was the part that made you feel uncomfortable, right? Otherwise, you would have been willing to put the full down payment, like pay the thing in full. So how long could you save up? How quickly could you save up $15,000 with no car payment?
Probably like 5 or 6 months.
Yeah. So we're talking about something that is almost less than half a year in order for you to be completely free, for you not to be investing in, to Rachel's point, a depreciating item. I'm not even going to call it an asset because it's going down in value. So I feel like we made a good case.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Are you convinced, Richard?
Yeah, I am.
What I think is hard though, because again, when we talk about money, naturally the math is going to come in, people's emotions come into all of it. So it all, that all makes sense. But the part that you just can't calculate though, Richard, is this level of not having risk, of having autonomy completely over your life. And Maria's probably thinking too, right? God forbid something happens, who knows? There's no risk at all, right?
Yeah.
We just talked to a caller that's about to be laid off and he has no debt. He actually sold his car to get out of car payments, has an emergency fund, and then, that life change for him is going to be very small impact-wise financially than the opposite. So I know you guys have savings and you're probably thinking, well, we could just cover it, if something happens. But there's still a level of risk, and the other part of being owned. I mean, honestly, I'm like having Toyota Motor Company, having a part of your paycheck every single month. There is something emotional there that can't go into a spreadsheet. And we had Dr. Arthur Brooks on the show a few weeks ago, and he talked about the scientifically what the brain does when you have debts. There's a level that you're not safe. Like there is something there innate that people don't talk about. So there is a freedom here, Richard, that again, maybe a little painful parting with the cash, but I would encourage you guys, this is why you did that. This is why you saved, is to be able to use your money and not use other people's money.
And then there's a practicality of, we're going to talk about this later in the show, but the insurance costs are going up. And to be able to enter into a car with no car payment, it frees you up to be able to deal with those fluctuating costs that have to do with just life in general, whether it be the cost of your insurance going up or the cost of groceries going up. Like there's a lot going on. And so to be able to clear out as much variable as possible in your life, it's just, for me, it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Maria, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Okay, so
she's like, I won.
So how does this work though? Because we talk to usually just one of the spouses calls in on our show, and usually it's Maria that calls in and is like, hey, I want to pay cash for this car. My husband doesn't want to, so we're usually talking to one of the spouses. And we talk about, the idea of being aligned values-wise with your money. So I'm curious for you guys, if you will share. You don't have to, but what does that conversation look like for you all? Is it Richard, you saying, all right, Maria, I hear you. I hear Jade and Rachel. I'm going to just make the decision, or what does those conversations look like when you get off the phone, do you think?
The conversations are honestly very good because the only thing we want is to just make the best choice for us, and we just want to save the most money. And I've totally agreed with him. And I'm like, we can do it your way or we can do it my way. It's just the reason I want it my way is just to not have that feeling, oh, we have debt. And he feels the same way too. But, with his reasoning, it was also, could we get a little bit more money in our savings doing it my way? And I'm okay with doing it his way. But, I also just had my idea. And I think our talks about money are great. We pretty much agree on everything.
Did you guys have debt prior to this that you paid off together?
No.
Oh, okay. So you've been living a debt-free lifestyle.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So Richard, you were like, we could just see what it might feel like. You're like, I'm willing to dip a toe in the water. That's funny.
See how the other side lives.
See how they live with stress and payments, Richard.
Yes, and I'm terrified to live that way, and I know I would be insanely stressed. But I also know that we've got about 10 months until we move and need that vehicle.
Yeah.
So I was hoping in that 10 months we would save up, solely have a car savings and hopefully
100%. Well, based off the numbers that Richard gave, as quickly as you could save up $15,000, I think that's actually pretty feasible. So very good.
Yeah, you guys could continue to save and make the cushion even more.
Yeah.
That's a great point because it's in 10 months. Well, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you both calling in and talking through it because there's a spirit of humility there too, right? Of just saying, hey, we want to be on the same team and we want to do this well. We have the end goal is the same. How we get there might start to kind of weave a little bit, but hearing each other I think is great. So thanks for the call. This is The Ramsey Show.
A lot of financial institutions don't care too much about you, but they care a lot about getting their sweaty hands on your money. They have fancy furniture and marble columns in their lobbies because you're paying for them with high fees just to access your own cash. But Fairwinds Credit Union's different. Guys, you know I prefer credit unions because of their membership focus, lower fees, and better experience overall. Fairwinds has been in business for over 75 years, and we're excited to endorse them because they share the Ramsey mission of helping people get out of debt and living generously. They won't try to force debt products and loans on you, and it's easy to join Fairwinds no matter where you live. They serve hundreds of thousands of members worldwide. Anything you could do at a bank branch, you can do on fairwinds.org. Plus, your deposits are federally insured by the NCUA up to $250,000. So talk to my friends at Fairwinds and check out the combined checking and savings account bundle they created just for Ramsey fans. Go to fairwinds.org/Ramsey to learn more.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Rachel Cruze, hosting with Jade Warshaw, and you can give us a call at 888-825-5225. We are answering your questions about life and money. Up next in San Francisco, we have Maria joining us. Hey, Maria.
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for taking my call. I'm so excited to be on The Ramsey Show.
Oh, I'm so glad you called. How can we help?
Okay, so I'm 50 years old, and I have only $100,000 in my retirement, and I own 2 investment properties. I recently adopted my daughter, who's 2 now, and my priorities have changed.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you very much. So I want to know if I should be just selling my rental properties, what to do about increasing my retirement. I have $15,000 in credit card debt, which I am in the process already. I have 3 credit cards. I already paid 1 off.
Okay, good job.
So I need your help. I need you to tell me if I should just get rid of these properties.
How many is it?
There's 2. So one is just a simple duplex, and the other one is 2 flat plus a basement apartment.
How much do you owe on each, and how much are they worth? Could you sell them for?
Yeah. So the duplex is worth $144,000, and the other one is worth. I'm sorry, I owe $144,000, and the other one I owe $396,000.
Okay. What could you get them for?
The one that's $144,000, I could get $242,000.
Okay.
Which I haven't earned much equity on it. I bought it for $180,000. It's ridiculous. And then the other one, which I recently bought 3 years ago, that I can get $550,000.
Okay. All right.
Okay, good.
So yeah, $250 pretty much you could cash out before taxes and fees and everything. Okay, and then your retirement, you have $100K. How much are you making a year in your job?
I make between 100 to 120.
Okay.
I work for the school district, so I make $100,000 during the school year, and then over the summer, I can work privately, so I make about $20,000 more.
That's great. That's so great. And you have the credit card debt of $15,000. Any other debt, or is it just that?
Just that. I don't have student loans. I don't have car.
Okay.
The one thing that I do have is, so I'm in California right now, and I'm living in my parents' home, but I pay the mortgage. They helped me out by buying this house back in like 2013 because I made the big mistake that you guys always say not to do is buy a house with a fiance before he was my husband. So
oh shoot, yeah.
That was a bad decision, and so my credit got hit, so I couldn't afford anything. So my parents said, you know what, instead of renting, let me just buy a house and you pay the mortgage. So I've been doing that, and their plan is to, for me to, this is my house, like to own the home. So they would transfer the loan, the title, whatever, over to me, and the equity is mine.
Okay. When will that happen?
We could do that right away. It's just a matter of finding out what the process is and if that's even doable with the type of loan that it is.
Okay. Do you have any liquid savings?
I have, that's the other problem. I have $2,000 in my bank account right now.
Okay.
I had $20,000. But I used that money, one, to pay off the last credit card, the one credit card.
Good, yeah,
that's good. That's right.
And then the rest of it was I went to Chicago, where I'm originally from, and I was not working, so I lived off that to pay. Yeah, so now I only have $2,000.
Okay.
So the good news is you don't have a ton of consumer debt. It's the $15,000. You could probably knock that out fairly quickly with your income. And then you've got these assets, about $250,000 of equity if you were to offload them. So you've got options here. And then the next part of the equation is just assuming everything continued going as it is now, right? You're 50 years old. Let's say you plan to retire at 65. You've got $100,000 saved in retirement now. If you just kept contributing, once you clear out this credit card debt, you save up 3 to 6 months of expenses. If you just contribute 15%, $1,500 a month for the next 15 years, you're going to retire with over $1 million. So that's as it sits now, which...
And as a teacher, will you have a pension? Is there
That's a good question, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a therapist, and yes, I only have so I'm currently working through an agency, and they don't offer a pension, but I was working through the district directly in the past, so I do have somewhat of a pension in California and in Illinois, but that only adds up to like $60,000 right now.
Okay, well, that's great.
$60,000 a year is what it'll end up being?
No, that's $60,000 that's there. Yeah.
Just a lump sum.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah.
When do you have, so, do you have access to it? Like when do you, if it's just a lump sum, when do you get access to it? And is it something that you could take and reinvest until you're ready for it?
I don't know if I could take it and reinvest. I know I have access to it once I retire, but I don't know if I could pull it now and put it.
Is it growing well? Do you know what percentage it's growing year after year?
I don't know that.
Okay.
Those are the questions that I need to ask.
No, you're great. And I think, I would find that out because I think the more information you have, Maria, around the situation, even Jade just plugging in, your info for the next 15 years and an investment calculator, like, $1 million. Okay, this is feeling feeling better, right? So what I would do if I were you, I would sell the 2 properties.
I would too.
I mean, at this point, I think, being in real estate and all of that, it's not paid for. And I think it's going to cause more stress. And I think you need the money. I mean, I think at 50 years old, you're going to be able to do some really great things investing wise for your future with that money.
Did the income you quoted include the profit from the rentals?
No.
Okay.
No, no.
How much do you make for those per month?
So right now, the one that's the single house, that one, I was making about, about $800 a month. Mm-hmm. The problem with that is that
$800 a month in San Francisco?
No, that's in Chicago. I'm sorry. Yeah. Chicago.
Oh, so these aren't even in these are both in Chicago and you're in San Francisco.
Even more reason.
Then I would definitely sell them, Maria. Definitely.
Yeah.
I would not be a long distance landlord with this bill. Yeah. So if I were you, I would find a great real estate agent. You can actually go to RamseySolutions.com/real estate or /agent. And there's Ramsey trusted agents in that area. And you can interview a couple of them, check out them and use one of them because they, basically do exactly what we teach and they're going to help you through the process. But I would sell.
One that I just bought. Even the one that I just bought like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's long distance, number one. And to your own point, you could use access to that money because the next step then is I would get with a SmartVestor Pro. And if you find out that the deal with the parents' house and all that is going to be a longer than 5-year play, like you could invest this money for the short term. And then when you're ready to come back to it, that could be the money that helps you have your own property in cash.
Right, but wouldn't I get dinged with taxes if I just use the equity from these two properties, if I just invest them rather?
You will pay some capital gains, yeah, but it's been over a year. So yeah, there will be some taxes, but there'll be taxes when it sells eventually as well.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So I would offload them.
I would want my plan, one more detail on there. My plan is to be closer to family in Chicago. So I wanted to buy a home in Chicago, a single family home for my daughter and I.
And when the time comes, you could do that, but you're kind of, you're projecting really far in the future and there's nothing to say that you're going to want to live in either one of these properties that you've been renting out for X amount of years.
Yeah.
I mean,
usually, you don't want to move back into something that's been rented out to families for the last, 5 to 6 years. You're going to want your own thing. So yeah, Maria, I would sell those. I would use that money, pay off the credit card debt, get a good emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses, and then sit down with the SmartVestor Pro and look at your income, look at the cash you have, and your investing strategy going forward. Because I think that's going to bring you peace, knowing that you and your daughter are going to be taken care of, in the next 5 to 10 years down the road.
You've been gazelle intense, you've eaten more beans and rice than you knew existed, and now you're ready to make your biggest investment better. Blinds.com is a great way to dress up a room or your entire home. Whether you're comfortable with do-it-yourself projects or you don't even know what a Phillips head screwdriver is, well, trust Blinds.com to take care of you like Ramsey would. You can do the measuring and installation yourself, or you can let Blinds.com's professionals handle everything for you. Blinds.com offers a completely hassle-free experience. Count on them to deliver stylish window treatments from premium brands without the premium markup. You'll never have to deal with pushy salespeople in your home just to get a quote. But you can count on free shipping, free samples, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee so that you can rest easy. That's why we've recommended Blinds.com for over 10 years. Get 50% off site-wide for a limited time at Blinds.com. That's Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
The Ramsey Show question of the day is brought to you by Why Refi. Why Refi refinances defaulted private student loans and builds a custom loan based on your ability to pay. Now, you guys, private student loans are different than federal student loans like Sallie Mae. So to learn more about this custom refinancing option and a lump sum payoff option that you can qualify for after 24 months, go to whyrefi.com/Ramsey. That's Y, the letter Y, refi.com/Ramsey. May not be available in all states.
Okay. Today's question comes from Matthew in Oregon. He says, my wife and I are debt-free except our expensive townhome. We bought it in 2022 with a 30-year term mortgage. Our monthly payment is about $4,200 a month, including escrow and PMI, while our net take-home pay is $8,750 a month. Wow. Our annual gross income is $110,000, which means our housing costs take up about 40% of our income, which limits how much we can invest. We both have the potential for income growth, but today's high cost of living is challenging, especially with 4 kids. We're in baby step 4, 5, and 6, but still feel trapped. It's hard to see a finish line of no mortgage payment. Should we stay where we're at and wait for our income to grow, or sell our house and move? This is one of those reality moments, Rachel. I think that if you're truly engaged in what's going on financially in your home, these are the moments where it's like, it's really tough because for those of you who don't know, here we teach that your payment shouldn't be any more than 25% of your take-home pay. And the reason for that is once it creeps beyond that, especially beyond 30%, is you really do start to feel that. And you start to experience what we call being house poor, and your blessing of a house now becomes a burden, right? Because you're not able to have the margin to do the things that life calls for. I mean, in this case, it could be anything from childcare. It could be anything from they're wanting to pay off their mortgage and they don't have any margin.
Yeah, well, and if you're in baby step 4, you're funding 15% of your income into retirement. So automatically, that's taking it, you have 45% of your income to live off of. That's before food and utilities and everything.
Yeah.
So it starts to dwindle, not always like in the right spots, right? And so...
And if you give 10%, forget about it.
That's right.
You're out.
That's right. Now you're down to 35%. And for basic living. So it's almost that feeling of like we work too hard to feel this broke. You know what I mean? Like we shouldn't feel like this. And it is because 40% of your income is going to housing. And so, I mean, I would be looking elsewhere because you say an expensive townhome, which I'm assuming is a really nice one, probably in a nice area.
Yeah.
And so I would be looking for other options. You know, you may be getting an older home. It may not be near the city because that's usually where prices go up. That's right. The closer you are to the city. So you may be moving out and all of it, which I know with 4 kids, I know it's so easier said than done. Just to be like, oh yeah, like get up and move. I know that that's like, could be changing schools, all of this, but the quality of your life and going to bed at night and having peace and not stressing and not being, you know, to this point of like like you just feel like, oh my gosh, I go to a job and I have no progress in my life. Like, that is daunting.
That's for the birds. You go think about how much time you spend at work. You go to work all day, 8 hours a day. Some people far more than that. And then you feel like you have nothing to show for it. You can't enjoy your life. You can't do the things that make you feel like you're making progress in life. Then there's the part of this equation, Rachel, where they do see a way for their income to go up. Now, there's been times people have called in the show and they're like, hey, I'm at 30% of my income, but I know that I have a raise coming up in the next 12 months. Yeah. And if we get that raise, you know, it'll equal out. And so there's a part of that where if they said, hey, we see a place where we're going to get a 15% increase.
Both of us.
Yeah. And so that's going to happen in the next 12 months. Maybe there's a part of this where you can ride it out.
That's right. That's right.
But only if that's 100% absolutely going to be true.
Yes. Yeah. Don't be on a wish and a prayer of it maybe happening, and then you're stuck in the cycle for the next 4 to 5 years because that's going to be exhausting.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to Will in Miami. Hi, Will. Welcome to the show.
Hello. How are you?
Doing great. How can we help?
Yes. So my father bought a car 2 years ago. This is a Mercedes. He's a retiree surgeon, and he now works as a surgical assistant. Here, since all the recession and all the economic problems we've been going through the country, that area of health, he hasn't been able to get a job for the last year. He has some stuff on and off, but he hasn't been able to have a stable job. The payment for this car is $500 a month, $550 plus insurance. That rounds up to somewhere between $650 to $700 a month. And because he doesn't have a job right now, it's been really difficult to maintain all the expenses.
What's he doing to maintain it?
I mean, right now, all our family is working. We are immigrants, and everybody contributes.
You're paying for your dad's car payment?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that everybody's paying their fair share, but the car right now is one of those crazy expenses
Are you in the
that
same? Are you all under the same roof?
Yes.
Okay. And so explain to Rachel and I kind of how that works. When you say everybody's paying their fair share, what does that mean?
So between my sister and I, our rent is $3,000. My sister and I pay about half of that.
Okay.
And the rest of the expenses are covered by our parents.
Okay.
Although we didn't start paying until recently, until about 6 months ago. My sister just graduated from college. I'm still a student.
Okay.
How old are you, Will?
Oh, I'm 28. I'm just a late bloomer student.
No, that's great. I was just curious. That's great.
Okay, so it's just you and your sister. The agreement is we all kind of live under one roof, but together you guys pay for half of the rent and we pay for the other half and everything else.
Yes.
And so you're concerned that since your dad is not working, how is he affording to pay for this Mercedes or this expensive car that he has?
I mean, to be honest, like we cannot afford anything right now. Even though we are able to cover the basics, that doesn't cover the credit card debts my parents have.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I believe that the car is one of the things that is taking them down.
So the hard... Oh, go ahead, Rachel.
Well, so, okay, a couple of things, Will. Where did you guys immigrate from? I'm just curious.
Oh, we are originally from Venezuela.
Okay,
We've been here for 8 years. We became citizens last year.
Okay.
Nice.
And the only reason I ask is I do find, even in the Hispanic culture, there is this like gathering of family, right? There is more than just the standard American that's like, oh, it's, Americans, I just feel like we're more independent and you just kind of, you run on your own track. Where other countries, other cultures, there is more of this like family oriented life. So I'm not saying one is wrong or the other, Will, but as a 28-year-old guy, and I know you want to support your parents and be there for them and all of it, for your own dignity, Will, as a man, emotionally, I do want you to somewhat separate what your parents have chosen with their own lifestyle versus what you're choosing, right? So they've chosen to, or he's chosen to have a Mercedes, okay? That's his choice. You have not done that. The credit cards, I don't know if the credit cards are paying the light bill to keep the house going, that's one thing. But if it's credit card debt that's coming from your parents that charge their own cards for their own lifestyle, that is their money and their choices. It does get a little bit confusing when you are living under one roof. So I think, Will, emotionally, I would detach myself from your parents' choices. And until they start affecting you, which they might soon will, there may be a point that you say, hey, I'm going to have to make a different decision for my life.
Yeah.
And I may have to go get a job, pause school, and do something different because I'm not going to be taken under because of their bad choices. But here's the thing, Will. Jade and I joked earlier. We were like, it takes a lot of therapy to realize you can't change people. You cannot change people. So I hope that helps, Will. You're an awesome son, and we wish you the best. Thanks to all the guys in the booth. Jade, thanks always for being a great co-host. Thanks to our live studio audience here in Nashville. And thank you, America. This is The Ramsey Show.
Do you ever feel like you're finally making progress toward your goals only to get quickly distracted by something else in your feed? Well, that's why we created the Ramsey Network App, your single source for content that keeps you motivated. The Ramsey Network App is designed to keep you laser focused on reaching your goals. Loaded with over 7,000 hours of Ramsey shows, this free app is the best place for uninterrupted content and no distractions. Plus, you can search specific questions to get more personalized content in seconds. So, for the days you need some extra motivation, you'll have proven advice at your fingertips. It's time to get serious about your goals and shut out the distractions for good. Simply search Ramsey Network in the App Store or Google Play. Just click the link in your show notes and download the free Ramsey Network app today. Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create amazing relationships. I am Rachel Cruze, hosting this hour with my good friend and best-selling author, Jade Warshaw, and we are here to answer your questions. So give us a call at 888-825-5225. We'll be answering your questions about life, about money, relationships, career, anything or everything. We are here for you, America. All right, up next, we have Josh in Sacramento, California. Hey, Josh. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me, taking for my calls.
Absolutely.
Kind of go straight to the point. I live in the People's Republic of California. I'm trying to leave this state. What I have a problem with is it's kind of financial and life career as well. So right now I'm a federal government employee. I am 7 years out from retirement, or when I'm eligible. My wife is a nurse. She makes really good money in California, and they make around anywhere from $90 an hour. My goal is to, one, sell my house, transfer to a different position and to a different state within the same agency, just because I have a very toxic work environment going on right now, and I need to get out. But the problem is if my wife leaves the state of California, she'd go from $90 an hour to $30 an hour, which is a huge financial cut. She'd also probably lose her 401k as well as that. We did talk about doing foster to adopt in the event that we did move. But my question to you, I guess, is, am I just cutting my nose off to spite my face, and should I just deal with it, knowing the fact that I have 7 years left to retirement, my house will be paid off in 4 years?
You sound like you're at the end of your rope. You sound really frustrated. Are you?
I am. I'm very frustrated. Yes, I'm very frustrated. I've wanted to transfer. I've wanted to transfer and get out of the state for 17 years of my career.
Does your wife want to leave as well? Besides the money, I know she'll take a pay cut, but just in general?
Her family's here, but she realizes how frustrated I am. Mm-hmm. And like I said, my boss is just utterly horrible right now.
And it's been going on for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it has. So my question to you is, am I being emotionally stupid by wanting to leave just so I can, quote unquote, have a more happy life, to trade one stress for another, for financial stress? Does that make sense?
Is it California? Okay, so if you work for the state.
So it's a whole gambit. It's California. The state sucks. The high taxes, just getting out of everything.
All right. Okay, you're at your wit's end.
You're done.
Okay, so if you were to leave, what would you do, and where would you go?
I'd basically stay with the same federal agency. I would go from what I'm doing now to basically to just a different job function, but just to the same pay.
Is there a different?
I would get a little bit. It would be a lower cost of living, which would be $13,000 a year.
Where?
But I'd imagine that, so it'd be from California possibly to Georgia.
Okay.
But I'm wondering if based
Why
on
Georgia?
the income tax rate out of well, that's where the position is at for my agency.
Have you ever been to Georgia?
Oh, okay.
Have you ever been?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
What's your wife think about Georgia?
Sections of it she hates. So.
Okay. Because here's the thing, Josh. I mean, I can hear you're frustrated, and I could only imagine. I understand it is from like just the state perspective that you're frustrated with, and then on top of that, you have a terrible job. You go and work somewhere for 40, 50 hours a week.
Yeah.
In a miserable place. So yeah, you're not in this isn't like a good headspace for Josh. So my question is, you're not the only one in this equation, right? So your wife is going to have as much of an input in this decision too, because I think that there has to be this. I don't know, but if she is not on board, resentment later on in life, moving away from family, going to a place she hates, she's going to end up being you in 4 years, possibly. I don't know, but that's a warning sign. It's just like, you guys need to be so tight-knit on this decision, because it's a big deal to move across the country. So you guys need to lock arms and be full, we are in this together. The good, the bad, the ugly, we are in this together. Because I don't want your marriage to be destroyed in the process either, right? And I want to be able to give her a voice too, and her frustrations may not be as deep as yours. And I don't want her, and honestly, Josh, the motivation for her, I'm like, there's a part of me that I'm like, I would hate for her to do it just to make you happy, because Josh is frustrated. So we got to go do what Josh wants to do, right? So like, there needs to be a level of agreement upon you guys. And I thought Plan B too, which I know you hate California, but is there a different position you could take where you guys live, a different job, a different opportunity, at least to get out of the toxicness of that job, and then just have the frustrations with the taxes in California? I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you and your wife agree to move to Georgia, then make the move. Leaving a job 7 years away from retirement is not stupid, because the work is, you're in a terrible situation. So no, that is not stupid to leave that.
No, I am of the mind that if one spouse is completely unhappy, then nobody's happy.
That's true.
So yeah. I do think that probably a move is good. But if she has come out and said, I don't really like Georgia, then Georgia's got to be off the table. You've got to pick a place where both of you are like, I'm up for that adventure. And I mean, there's 50, I don't want to say 50 states. What is it now?
49. No, it's 50.
But don't the other territories count? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So there's 50 states and then some territories, depending on what history book you look in. Okay. And so there's a lot of options here is what I'm saying. Going back to the conversation about the 401k quickly, what made you say that she'd lose her 401k?
Well, I wouldn't say she would lose her 401k. What she would do is she would stop contributing to her 401k, so she would be able to take it out.
Yeah, you just transfer it. You just transfer it.
Right.
Okay. I just want to be clear about that.
So I guess the issue is I've only got 7 years left. My mortgage will be done in 4 years on my house. My wife is like going from $90 an hour to basically $30 if she decides to work. If not, then it's a huge.
Let me ask you this: is there any world where you're like, is there any world where you're willing to ride this out longer, because you're the person who brought up, in just 7 years I'll retire, and in just 4 years I'll have my car paid off. My house paid off. So do you really care about those things? Or do you know what I'm saying? Like, are those things that you're weighing in, or are you beyond that?
So here's the problem. Emotionally and mentally, I am checked out. Mm-hmm. The problem is I don't want to live life on the emotional aspect. I know logically, financially, it makes more sense to stay. However, I don't know if I can emotionally and mentally handle it for
mentally and emotionally is going to be because you could be debt free and still be miserable in your job.
And you're not saying this is after 6 months. You've said for
7 years.
For years you've been upset.
Yeah, I thought about most of my career, probably about the last 10 years of my career, it's gotten like
So
that.
It's safe to say that you have sacrificed a certain level.
Why have you stayed in it, Josh? I'm curious.
What was that?
Why have you stayed in it for 10 years?
The pension and early retirement.
Okay, so this is a good lesson for America, that money does not equate to happiness. There is a level of your life that as adults, we have to decide to bring a level of peace and to work a crappy, I would say a different word, but we're on a family-friendly show, crappy situation just to make a paycheck. You guys, it's not worth it.
Not worth it.
Life is too short. Life is too short, Josh. So you and your wife, I would sit down, you guys, pick a place on the map and say, we're going to transfer.
Georgia.
And we may even be in different careers, but we're going to find a level of peace and enjoyment, and we may make less, but people that make less and live within their means and work somewhere, they're happy. So, Josh, y'all got to make some changes for sure. And you should have made them 8 years ago, if I'm being honest. Not to shame you, but
it's true.
We need to make some decisions here, Josh. We're rooting for you. Come to Nashville. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, here's a quick math refresher. There are only 24 hours in a day. So you and your team need to streamline time-consuming tasks to focus on the activities that actually make money. Smart businesses are realizing that to reduce headaches as they scale, they need NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one platform. With NetSuite, you reduce IT costs because NetSuite is cloud-based. You cut the cost of maintaining multiple systems because you've got one source of truth. And you improve efficiency by bringing all your major business processes into one platform, slashing manual tasks and errors. So join the 37,000 plus companies, including Ramsey Solutions, that have done the math and are boosting their efficiency with NetSuite. And right now, download NetSuite's popular KPI checklist designed to drive the right behaviors for your business absolutely free at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey to get your free KPI checklist.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. So one of the, I would say, pillars of winning financially that is so key is doing a budget, being intentional with where your money goes, where your income is going, because your income is going to help you live the life that you want. And that includes being debt-free. That includes having savings and investing and spending and giving and all the things. It comes from your income. So being intentional with that is really important. So our app, EveryDollar, helps you do that. And it's fantastic. And we have people, millions that are subscribed and that are building budgets every single month. And we love sometimes to walk through those. And Jade, you do this a lot, even on your social,
that's
on
right.
Instagram.
Yeah, I put out a call a while back and I said, hey, if you want me to review your budget, fill out this Google Doc. And so many of you got back to me, and it's really been fun to go through budgets. And so Rachel, today, one of those budgets that was submitted, we actually have Natalie on the line from Chattanooga, Tennessee. So Natalie, you told me, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
So you told me it's you and your husband, right? You're a mortgage analyst.
No, I'm not. I'm actually a stay-at-home mom.
Stay-at-home mom. Is anybody a mortgage analyst?
No, my husband is a chemist.
Oh, wow. Why did I have that on here? All right. Well, stay-at-home mom, a chemist. Is it right that you make $80,000?
Just about that. Okay. Yeah. So I want to say his income is about 73, and then I make around an extra $6K a year through like a fixed side hustle that I'm doing, and then I also have another side hustle on top of that.
Cool.
So. Good for you.
And so after taxes, after a little bit of investing you're doing, and after insurance, you guys are bringing home around $4,884 a month. That's what you put on your form, yeah?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, just around $4,900. Yeah, that's pretty much what I've calculated.
Okay, cool. So with everything that you said you have in your budget, which as a matter of fact, we can pull it up on the screen here. So let's just kind of like go through this budget so everybody can see. Up at the top, that black number, $342, that is your margin. That's what's left over after we've put in everything that you said you spend money on every single month. So just going through here real quick, we see the mortgage here, $1,556, which is a little bit over the 25% that we talk about. Water, internet, all that looks good. Sewer looks good. Groceries, $800. Is it just you and your husband, or you have kids as well?
So we've got 4 kids. Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
So the grocery budget is
listen, that's great.
Yeah.
For
that you can do it for $800. That's fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, I do a lot of cooking from scratch, and I make bread, like all that.
Girl.
So I've really slimmed it down.
That's great.
I find that to be actually very impressive. Okay, so transportation, $250 on gas, phone, $140. Like, this is a bare bones budget. I see auto insurance. It looks like you've got term life insurance. That's really good. But then we see that there are 3 debts here. A student loan, which if I click into it, the balance is $11,000. And then you've got this car payment.
Yeah, we've shaved the first student loan down to $8,700.
Nice.
Yeah, we're checking away at that. Yeah, so we're trying to put like a minimum of $1,000 a month to that first loan.
Okay, so that's a great segue. So we see that your margin is 342. How are you coming up with this full 1,000? Where's that money coming from?
Well, I think when I originally submitted those numbers, we had still had some cell phones that we were paying off, so we've taken care of those.
Okay, great.
So we've got a little extra margin there, and then just through my other side hustle, we try and meet that $1,000 minimum is kind of our goal each month. So we're trying to hit that at least, and then whatever we can make on top of it, we've been just throwing at the debt as well.
Okay, so it sounds like, so there's kind of like 4 areas that we really look for where people can cut. Like there's more than 4, but there's like 4 key areas that we kind of zone in on when we're looking at someone's budget. And it feels like you're doing 2 of the 4, which is you're side hustling. Like you're bringing in extra money. We're usually looking for people to bring in like an extra $800 to $1,000. You're doing that, it sounds like. We're always looking for areas where we can cut costs, and your budget is super bare bones. You know, with kids and having an $800 grocery budget, I feel like that's a green check as well. But then there's 2 other areas that I am wondering about. You did, at least when you submitted this, you told me that you guys are investing $200 a month?
So yeah, actually we stopped investing to his 401k. I finally convinced him.
Yeah,
nice.
That's adding to the 1,000 too, probably.
Correct.
Good.
Okay,
Wonderful.
So I think it was actually closer to like $250 that was coming out of his check every month. So we've got that extra money as well. So we're not currently investing.
And then so that's 3 green checks. And then the 4th one is your withholding. Like, do you guys get a tax return every year?
We do, yeah, and it's usually a pretty good amount. I should probably have them double check that.
Yeah,
So the refund is usually pretty good amount.
A basic way you can look at that is to just see, okay, what's the refund? Let's say it's $8,000 or $6,000, whatever it is. Divide it by 12, and then you're like, hey, that's money that I could have back into my budget every month. So if I were to give you homework coming off this call, it would be that, so that going into, the new year for sure, that you guys are having more money in your budget. But I love that you made the progress on the student loan, because the way I calculated it here, I took a look at your budget. If you could get the amount that you're paying extra on this debt up to $2,000, like if you're paying an extra $2,000, you guys are you're debt free in less than 24 months. Which is...
That just sounds so amazing.
I mean, that's
we
great.
are hustling over here.
I feel it for you. I mean, seriously, yeah. I mean, it's powerful what happens too when you actually start living on a plan. How long have you guys been living on a budget and doing EveryDollar?
Yeah, well, so we've been on a budget for forever, but I would say we've been really intentional about paying off the debt since March.
Okay.
Because we've just had kids like every year in the last 6 years. So that's just really been the focus. And now that we're taking a break from having babies and being pregnant and all of that, we're like, all right, let's tackle this debt,
So good. Because I was going to say, when you start living intentionally, with the budget every single month, you may find, oh yeah, that was money going out there that I forgot about, or I forgot about that Apple subscription or whatever, and it could be $20, $30, $40 here or there. But for you guys, I mean, that makes a significant difference,
For sure. Yeah. And I think that was the issue. Once we in March decided hey, we're going to do this, it was kind of me sitting down with him and saying I'm really sick and tired of trying to pull from savings every month just to meet,
Yeah, basic
there's
needs.
always that deficit of hey, we're overspending, so we need to pull from savings, but then we're not really going anywhere, if that makes sense.
Jade, on the first debt, the first student loan, how much is the payment a month?
The first student loan, the payment is $184 a month.
Okay, because that's another great thing too, is that's another, almost $200 freed up once that's paid off to throw at the next debt too, right? So you can count that quote unquote as found income too.
So our goal is to have this first debt completely paid off by either February or March, because he typically gets an annual raise, but also a bonus check that comes with that. So whatever we get from that is literally just going to pay off that first one, whatever's left over, obviously up until that point, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Because you have two more
if
debts.
If I had a piece of homework for you, it would be to increase that margin with more side hustles. Get if you're doing 1,000 now, try to increase it by 1,000. And if you do that, then you're able to pay off that student loan in far, far like far exceed your timeline there. And then if you do that, it frees up the money, like Rachel said, and you could pay off the $18,000 Chrysler in 6 months, just over 6 months, 7 months, which is exciting. But I did want to ask you, because last time I saw that you submitted this, you had $4,000 in savings and you had $2,000 in single stocks. And so that's also money that has the ability to be liquidated to put towards this.
I'm not sure where that came from. We just have the emergency fund, so we've just got the $1,000. But no, I don't know if maybe I put an error in there.
Okay.
Well, then really got no extra cash.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's probably the mortgage analyst, So.
Yeah. Who knows where he came from? But this is great.
Good job, Natalie. I love that. And Jade, you're so great though of walking through it, because it's the truth. When you start living on purpose like that, you start to see like the nooks and crannies of your money situation and let it work for you. That's the power of using your income. So great. Thanks for the call, Natalie. This is The Ramsey Show.
Your home is probably the biggest purchase you'll ever make. And with the real estate market like it is now, you'll need a mortgage company you can trust. That's Churchill Mortgage. You guys, buying a home is not a button push. It's a process. It takes building a relationship with an expert who will dig into the details and give you peace of mind without busting your budget. Churchill is one of the highest rated lenders in the country. And they're Ramsey trusted because they do what's right for you. Go to churchillmortgage.com to get started.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. We just went over a budget live here last segment. And Jade, you're actually going to be doing a webinar walking people through the EveryDollar budget, how to budget, what budgeting looks like, how you actually put this into practice day in and day out.
Yeah, we're just doing a live training. It's going to be Thursday, September 12th, so tomorrow. And you can get the clarity that you finally need with your money. And we're going through, just like we did with Natalie before the break, we're going through those 4 areas where you can find money in your budget. Because most of us, Rachel, could do with an extra $1,000 or $2,000 in our budget. And it's real money that's waiting for you to find it, right? So we're going to walk through that budget with you. And here's the thing. Over 100,000 people have registered for these free trainings in the past, and they have come away with it with the tools they need to manage their money. And so really now it's your turn to really get involved. And don't wait.
We answer your questions when we do these webinars. We're there live, and
Q&A.
We'll sometimes pull up a question, or you can comment. Mm-hmm. And if anything, honestly, seeing other people, it's up to 7,000 people that can be in it live.
Yeah.
You're seeing everyone comment on the side. That's what I love the chat going, because it's people from all over. And all have a similar goal, usually have a similar emotion around it, with a lot of, fear and shame. A lot of people that live paycheck to paycheck their entire life, and they're trying to make a change. So it's really motivating to see other people on the journey. So make sure to check it out, and they can sign up.
You can sign up. You can go to everydollar.com/webinar to sign up, or you can click the link in the description if you're listening on YouTube or if you're listening on podcast. So that's tomorrow, September 12th.
All right, up next we have Blake in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Hey, Blake, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jade. Hey, Rachel. How y'all doing?
We're doing great. How can we help?
So, to expedite this story, I bought a farm that come with a house at 17. I paid $60,000 for it and put $20,000 down. I cash flowed all the renovations, and now my wife and 3 kids, we all live here, and we've outgrown this house, and we're going to sell it. I would say the house and farm is conservatively worth $350,000.
Wow,
and
that's great.
We owe $35,000 on the farm. But the question that I have is, my wife has $80,000 in student loans. Do we take some of this money that we're going to use to build another house and buy another farm, do we take that equity and put it all towards the student loans?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, I would. Because I wouldn't encourage you guys to go back into home ownership until you're at a point where you have debt paid off and a fully funded emergency fund. And the equity you're about to get is going to be able to do all of that, plus be able to put some money down
payment.
Yeah, on a new build or a new construction loan. Is that the only debt you guys have? Is this $80,000?
We made a bonehead mistake and took out a loan for a camper in March, which we've dove headfirst into your all's plan and trying to pay this debt off. We paid $15,000 in the past 3 months.
Good for you guys. That's great.
So we owe $18,000 on the camper.
Okay.
And yes, that's the only debt we have. Is just really the camper.
Okay.
The
Yeah,
farm loan and student loan.
I would pay both off then. How much do you guys make a year?
Yeah. About $200,000.
200. Okay, that's great. Yeah, I mean, like my always kind of my friendly warning, if we were all hanging out, I'd probably say this to you, is whenever you get a lump sum of money, and we find this with people that may, get money from insurance, or they may have gotten, an inheritance, or they have a ton of equity that they're liquidating. Whenever you get a large sum of money and then you go and you just wipe out the debt, because you're going to be able to do that in one day. It's a really amazing gift to be able to do that, but also you're skipping a little bit of the sacrifice in the process to get out of that debt, which usually makes people never want to go back in because they've had to get extra jobs and sacrifice lifestyle, and they feel this pain associated with debt and getting out. And you guys aren't going to have that necessarily. I mean, you're going to kind of go through and wipe it out, which again is such a gift, and you guys have been so smart on all of it. So I think though it takes an extra step of you and your wife sitting down, shaking hands, pinky promising, I mean, all the things that we're never going back into this because you're going to have to. And I heard that from you a couple of times of, oh gosh, we made this mistake and that mistake. So that's my only level of advice when it comes to you guys going forward. That the behavior really has been changed, and I believe it has for you guys the way you're talking. But I'm excited for y'all. I mean, that's great. I mean, you'll come out, after you'll pay taxes and all of that, and so you may have enough. How much of a house new construction loan are you guys going to take out? Do you know?
We don't really want to take out any more than about $450,000.
Okay.
So I'm thinking with all this debt paid off from the home equity, hopefully we can put down about $200,000.
Yeah, possibly. It might be a little thin because you'll be paying some taxes. So yeah, I would run some of those numbers, but it could be close. And then I would want you guys to have some cash too aside just for an emergency fund above what you're going to put down.
We do have a $25,000 3 to 6 month emergency fund put up.
Oh, Blake. All right. So you got $25,000.
Yeah.
Okay. That buys you a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. And if you guys wanted to just have fun, pay off the camper today with that money before, put the house for sale and everything. I mean, you could do some of this now.
The other problem that me and my wife are going back and forth on is her student loans are able to be forgiven because it's like a public service forgiveness. If she pays monthly for 10 years, then the entirety of the loan is forgiven. Is that something we should look into?
No, I wouldn't, for two reasons. Usually to get that forgiveness, you have to be in some type of line of work for that long to be able to qualify for it, which kind of just puts you in this position of being forced into something you may not want to be in. And then honestly, Blake, if I'm being frank, I mean, in 10 years, who knows what's going to be out there, where Congress is going to be, who's going to be president. I mean, who knows between now and then. And so the idea that you guys can do this on your own and have power over your situation without anyone else's influence or dependence on anyone else, there's power in that. And there's going to be more hope in you guys changing your lives and doing this than waiting for a program. But I hear, we get that question sometimes, and I get the benefit. And for some people, they've been in something and it's a year out, then I'm like, all right, well, if it's a year out, But I would not force myself into a box to be able to qualify for it. And again, if it's in 8 to 10 years, who knows what's going to be happening in DC? I don't trust it.
Right.
Personally.
I don't trust it either.
Yeah. So I hope that helps, Blake. Well done, you guys. I can't believe you guys bought that property again. We'll say this for $60,000. When was this?
I bought it when I was a senior in high school in 2016.
Oh, wow.
Holy moly. Wow.
Okay.
And you put $20,000 down on the $60,000 property?
Yes.
Wow. Way to go.
And now it is $350,000. That's incredible, Blake. Well done. You guys, you guys have made some smart decisions. And make sure, again, with the sale of that, make sure you, again, all the check marks are, all the boxes are checked when it comes to taxes, capital gains, anything like that. Make sure you do your due diligence of making sure that's all covered. And if you need a tax pro, Blake, or even a real estate agent, you can go to RamseySolutions.com and check out our trusted pros there to be able to help you through some of it. If you need that additional help, make sure to check them out. But yeah, that's
doesn't get much better than that.
That's a story everyone wants, I think.
Gosh.
So in 10 years, it appreciated like crazy.
Yeah, that's really great. I'm happy for them. That camper is my only question mark.
You want to sell it?
I want to get rid of it. You know what? Everybody's not a camper person, and they're camper people, so I'm not going to.
You're not? Jade, would you camp or camper?
I would glamp.
Uh-huh. I'm with you.
I'd glamp.
My husband went away this weekend with some friends.
Yeah.
And they basically stayed in a house that didn't have air conditioning or walls. It was basically camping. And he brought an air mattress. I was like, you all are crazy. So yeah. But Blake, I'm sure the camper was nicer than that. Yeah. So yeah, you guys enjoy. Hey guys, it's Rachel Cruze here to tell you about a faith-based alternative to health insurance that can make healthcare more affordable. Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM allows members to share each other's healthcare costs, and it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, choose the healthcare provider you want. Step 2, submit your eligible bills. And Step 3, get reimbursed. CHM members take care of your eligible medical bills. With no networks and the freedom to choose your healthcare provider, CHM is the best option for Christians who want to take care of their families and help other believers. Find out more at chministries.org/budget. So one of the expenses that is hard to face as adults, but it's true. There's a couple of them. But one of them is insurance. And in recent years, or recent months, I guess close to 18 months now, they just seem to keep going up, up, up. Home, auto, it continues to rise. And according to Quadrant Information Services, home insurance rates are about 23% higher than they were last year. Yeah. Car insurance is up 39% compared to December of 2019.
Yeah, it's a lot. And the factors that are playing into it, it's interesting. So even if you look at like car insurance, you do have to think about where you live in the United States. Is climate an issue? Or do you live in a place where there's tornadoes and so there's hailstorms and it damages your vehicle? It could be something like, wow, I just had to completely blank my brain out there.
No, but yeah, you think about whether it's tornadoes, rain, hurricane, anything that could be damaging your vehicle.
Yeah, climate's a thing. Yeah. And then you think about models, right? We're doing a lot more electric vehicles. Mm-hmm. There's more technology inside of them. And so there's that part of it. And so by and large, we're seeing an increased amount of car accidents, which is interesting.
Okay.
So there's that's playing into it. Some people would still say supply chain, although part of me is like, I feel like that's
It's pretty much caught up. I feel like, do you remember though, in that height of COVID, you would drive by a car lot and there would be like no cars. It was so eerie. And now they're pretty full. I would say the car lots there might be some cars still on back order, but I think for the most part, you can get it if you need it.
And so, a lot of people are probably like, well, what can we do about it? And this right here, Rachel, is where what we teach really does play in, because if you do buy a car in cash, if you buy it in cash, it's used, then you are qualifying yourself for a lower rate. And so that right there is a good
motivation.
Do it. Obviously, the car model that you choose still plays a part in it. How old you are still plays a part in it. So all of that plays a part. So there are some ways to get around this, but even when you do all those things correctly, there is still the idea, like, it is getting higher. And that just, the truth is that just sucks.
Yeah, and it's one of those expenses too that you're like, I can't do anything about it, right? Like when your property tax goes, whatever it is, you're just like, oh my gosh, you feel stuck. You feel trapped because you have to have it.
Yeah.
But yet, it's one of those things that just continues to rise.
You could raise your deductible. That's something that you could do. There's another thing about if you buy your car in cash and you have enough money saved up that if something were to happen to that car, you could replace it in cash. Then you could drop off like comprehensive insurance because you're like, hey, if something happens, natural disaster, something that's crazy, I have the cash that I could actually
repair
replace
it
this
if I need to.
Yeah. So there's things that you could do to save on it, but there's just a big part of this that it is.
It's frustrating. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So there's other things that you can do, whether it's look for discounts. You can even bundle policies. Sometimes you'll get a better deal that way. But I would, again, shop rates, because sometimes the bundles, it really is helpful. And sometimes if you're shopping from just like one carrier and you're not comparing prices, you may not be getting the best price. So make sure to do your research there.
And the same thing's happening also with home insurance. We're seeing certain states are not willing to cover things that they once did. And again, some of this is linked to climate. Some of it's linked to natural disasters, that sort of thing. And we had a call the other day where a lady called in. She said, I'm being dropped from my insurance because my state has decided that they don't cover you if you have a flat roof. And it's like, okay, great, And so all of this, at the very least, it really ties in what we teach and trying to put yourself in a position where you can have as much peace as possible. So if these things do crop up, it's not a disaster. It's like, okay, this is very inconvenient, but because I've set myself up, I can deal with it. And so that's how this works. If you want to work with an independent insurance agent, you could contact a Ramsey Trusted Insurance Pro. The good thing about our Ramsey Trusted Insurance Pros is they are going to advise you and help you do things the way we teach. And so that's what you're looking for. They're not tied to any one carrier, and they'll pull quotes from all companies to help you pick the best deal. So you can go to RamseySolutions.com/bundle to get connected and to start saving money on your insurance.
Because it is a part of the budget.
It's just part of it.
Part of the life that
part
we
of
live,
the life.
adults.
Yes.
All right, up next we have, is it Shay in Chicago? Hey, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to make this quick. I'm thinking of doing a voluntary repossession of my car, and I'm just wondering if that's a good idea. Well, I'm going to call it. Well, let me rephrase that. I call it a voluntary repossession, but I'm really trying to get rid of some debt. I'm tired of paying a car note. I thought that was the right idea.
Yes, but can we sell it? Can we sell it?
That's my goal.
Okay.
I'm hoping to try to sell it to the dealership, and I'm assuming, of course,
can we sell it private sale?
I'm not. Well, I currently pay on it, so I'm not sure if that's going to be ideal. Okay.
So here's what I would do. I would not give it back to the dealer. I would not do a voluntary repossession, even though that's not what you meant. I would never do that because that's going to destroy your credit and just be heartache. And I wouldn't sell it back to the dealer because they're not going to give you the best price for the vehicle. If I were you, what kind of vehicle is it?
It is a Buick Encore GX.
Okay, what year?
2021.
Okay, I'd get on Kelley Blue Book today after you get off this call, and I'd see how much can I get for this private sale. What do you owe on it?
$22,000.
Okay, and just your best guess, if you're like, hey, I have done a little bit of research, what do you think you could get for it?
I'm hoping to get at least $20,000.
Okay, so if you thought that giving it back to the dealership would give you $20,000, then I bet blue booking it, you might be able to break even on this. Just based off of what you've said.
Yeah, Shay, what's causing you to get rid of it? Is it just because the payment is so high?
Yes, and honestly, I'm just trying to get out of debt. I want to be able to pay off. My mom and I just bought a family duplex, so I want to put my money into paying this off, not a car note.
Not a car, yeah. Do you have any other debt?
Yes, I do have credit card debt.
How much?
$9,000.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
How much do you make a year?
I make $73,000 a year.
Oh, good for you. That's so great. Okay, what's caused you to just up and say, I want to get out of debt. I don't want to do this anymore.
I'm just tired of living the life that I've been living. I don't feel like I'm living like a 25-year-old. You know, I'm making okay money, and I'm not seeing the benefits from it.
Yeah.
For sure. Well done. I mean, that's a good why. We usually find, Shay, people that start saying, gosh, something's got to change. A lot of it comes like that, to say, I work hard and I don't feel like I have anything to show for it. It's just this feeling of, I mean, there's nothing. And and you're 25 making $73,000. That's a lot. That's great.
Where'd the credit card debt come from? Because you've got a good income.
Honestly, poor decisions. And then also before I got this car, I had a card that was giving me trouble. So I was putting some money into it to put it on my credit card, trying to get it fixed. And it still ended up going out on me. So
see, I love this car. I love when people stop and realize that they have a choice. Like you don't have to keep going the way you've been going. You have you can opt out of that lifestyle and you can go, you know what? Yeah, I want to do better than this. I want to feel like I'm making an impact. I want to feel like my income matters. I don't want to keep living like this. So bravo. I think
so great, Shay. Have you plugged into the Ramsey Baby Steps at all?
No, I have not.
Okay. So I would encourage you to dive into some of the stuff. We'll have Christian pick up and we'll give you Financial Peace University, which is our 9-week course that we always say every high schooler should have taken. But at 25, if you can get this, Shay, because there's a process, because your emotions there, the decision in Shay has been made that I don't want to live like this anymore. So now the best way to be effective of this and to actually see a lot of impact is to have a step-by-step process of what you do. So Shay, we have what's called the Ramsey Baby Steps, which the first thing you do is going to get $1,000 emergency fund. The second thing you're going to do is pay off all of your debts, smallest to largest. So it'd actually be you getting rid of this car, which is great, and then knocking out the credit cards. So if you have multiple credit cards, write each of those out separately, smallest amount to largest amount, regardless of the interest rates. Pay minimum payments on everything and pay off that smallest credit card first and work your way up. I would be getting a side hustle. I mean, I would do anything I could to knock this out. And again, you make some great money. So even limiting your lifestyle, living on a budget, doing a couple of those things is going to help you. And then your next goal, Shay, will be to get a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses saved in the bank.
Okay.
And how would that feel right now? If you had no debt and you had 5 months of expenses saved in the bank, how would that feel?
Amazing.
Amazing. So good. Okay, stay on the line. Christian will pick up and we'll give you some stuff to help you on your journey. I'm so glad that you called in.
I know.
So great. Okay, those of you that are watching on YouTube or listening on podcasts, make sure to download the Ramsey Network app. We'll have the third hour there. If you're listening on radio, keep listening and we will be here in the next hour. Thanks to all the guys in the booth. Thank you, Jade, for a great hour. And thank you, America. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, what are you still doing here? You know the rest of the show's happening on the Ramsey Network app, right? So you got to jump over there to continue watching. You can download it for free. Just go to your app store, type in Ramsey Network. It's completely free, and I'll drop a link in the show notes to make it easy for you. So if you're watching on the app, you're in luck. But if you're watching anywhere else, this show is over for you. So jump onto the app and let the fun continue. All right. Go on now. Don't make it weird. Okay, I got nowhere to go, so you need to go. Okay, bye-bye now. All right, it's getting weird over there, guys. What do we do?